Hello, everybody. So, today we are going to start the second part of Business Studies, chapter number 3, which is Public, Private, and Global Enterprises. So, today we are going to study about the changing role of public sector enterprises, global enterprises, joint ventures, and public private partnership. So, let us start with the changing role of public sector enterprise. Since independence, the public sector has been playing a vital role in the economic development of the country. Public sector is considered to be the power engine of economic development and an important instrument of self-reliance and social justice. The role of public sector in India before 1991 can be explained as follows. Number 1, development of infrastructure. The development of infrastructure is a prerequisite for industrialization in any country. So before independence, our in our country infrastructure was not so sound, so that was the main reason why industrialization could not take place. So later on the government started realizing that the importance of infrastructure is very important. So government started investing in the infrastructure of the country. It was the only government which made huge capital investment to develop infrastructure facilities because such projects demand long gestation period and relatively less return on investment. Second is regional balance. Most industrial development was limited to port towns in the independence period, in the pre-independence period, but after 1951, public sector enterprises was set up in the backward areas to balance the regional development. Example is the Rourkela, Durgapur and Bhilai steel plants. These are established in the rural areas for development of such backward areas. So the third point is generation of employment. By generating large scale employment opportunities, public sector enterprises contributes to the equitable distribution of income and wealth. Next is check work concentration of economic power. The public sector followed the policy of takeover of many private industrial enterprises to prevent the monopolies and concentration of economic power, which led to inequality in the distribution of income and wealth. The next point is defense requirement. Investment in the public sector was essential to ensure the continuous supply of goods and services needed for the defense forces of the country. The next point is public utility. The government started realizing that the private firms are more concerned about earning profits, so government only started investing in the public utilities such as electricity, gas, water supply, transportation. Despite the impressive role of public sector enterprises, they suffered several problems such as overstaffing projects, poor project planning, excessive overhead, underutilization of production capacity, lack of proper pricing policy, inefficient management, and low return on investment or even losses. The consequences was that many of the public sector units have become a burden rather than being an asset to the government. So government of India introduced four major reforms in public sector and its new industrial policy 1991. The main elements of the government policy we can study below. These were restructure and revive the potentially viable PSUs. Government decided that we will restructure and revive only those PSUs which are potentially viable. And the second point is we will close down all those PSUs which are not potentially viable or which cannot be revived. The next point is bring down government's equity in all the non-strategic PSU to 26% or lower if necessary. And the last one was fully protect the interest of workers. Now, let us see government new industrial policy 1991 towards the public sector. Number one point was that the reduction in the number of industries reserved for the public sector from 17 to 8, and then it was reduced to 3. So till 1991 there were 17 industries reserved for the public sector. In 1991, number of industries reserved for public sector reduced to 8, and that was further reduced to only 3 in 2001. These are atomic energy, arms, and rail transport. This means that the private sector could enter all areas except the 3, and the public sector would have to compete with them. The next point was strengthening enterprises through Memorandum of Understanding. Government took steps to improve the performance of those PSUs which fail in the category of high priority areas or were generating reasonable profits through a system of MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding, by which management were to be granted greater autonomy but held accountable for achieving specified targets and results. Now we can see the next point, which is disinvestments of shares of non-strategic public sector enterprise, which means which means equity shares of public sector enterprises were sold to the private sector and public. It was expected that this would lead to improved managerial performance and better financial discipline. The next point comes as policy regarding chronically sick units. All public sector sick units were referred to Board of Industrial and Finance Reconstruction, which is BIFR. Unit which were potentially viable were restructured, and which could not be reviewed were closed down by the board. So now let us see global enterprises. Global enterprises is also known as multinational company or a transnational company or global enterprise. इसके बहुत सारे names होते हैं, right? So it is defined as a company that operates in several countries. Such a company has factories, branches or offices in more than one country. Example आप देख सकते हैं like Philips, Coca-Cola. So let us see the features of multinational companies or global enterprises. Number one is huge capital resources. MNC possesses huge capital resources and they are able to raise a lot of funds from various sources. The second point is international operations. MNC has a production, marketing and other facilities in several countries. The next point is centralized control. MNC has a centralized control. It has a headquarter in the home country where all the exercises, controls over the different branches is done. And the next point is foreign collaboration. Usually they enter into an agreement relating to sale of technology or production of goods or use of brand names with the local firms in the host country. The fifth point is advanced technology. These organizations possess advanced and superior technology which enables them to provide world-class products and services. The sixth is product innovation. These enterprises are characterized by having highly sophisticated research and development department which is engaged in the task of developing new products and superior designs of existing products. The next point is marketing strategies. MNC use aggressive marketing strategies. Their brands are well known and spend huge amount of advertising and sale promotion. Now let us come to the next topic, which is joint ventures. A joint venture is the pooling of resources and expertise by two or more businesses to achieve a particular goal. Joint venture we have also studied before, so I think this must be clear to you all. So examples of joint venture is a Maruti company of India and Suzuki company of Japan. They both collaborated together. They joined together to form Maruti Suzuki India Limited. Joint ventures may be brought in about in three major ways. Number one is foreign investors buying an interest in local company. First is this way. Second is a local company acquiring an interest in an existing foreign company. And third is, which is the most common one, both the foreign and local companies jointly form a new company. So let us see the features of joint ventures, which is increased resource and capacity. Second is access to new market and distribution network, which means when a business enters into a joint venture, it can access new markets. For example, when a foreign company forms joint venture in India, they gain access to the vast Indian market. They can also take advantage of the established distribution channels. Now, the next point is access to technology, which means advanced techniques of production leads to superior quality of products and reduce costs of production. It saves lots of time, energy, and investment because they do not have to develop their own technology. They can use the established one. And the next point is innovation. Joint venture always allows the opportunity for innovation. And the last is established brand name. When two business enter into a joint venture, one of the parties benefits from the other's goodwill, which has already been established in the market. So this is an example which you already know. So now let us come to the topic which is public-private partnership. Public-private partnership, which is abbreviated as PPP, it means an enterprise in which a project on services is financed and operated through partnership of government and private enterprise. It is a long-term partnership between public and private sector. If you want to see an example, it would be a hospital building financed and constructed by a private developer and then leased to the hospital authority. The private developer then act as a landlord, providing housekeeping and medical services, while the hospital itself provides medical services. Now let us see the features of public-private partnership. Number one is it facilitates partnership between public sector and private sector. The next point is pertaining high priority projects, which means that it pertains to high priority projects that are aimed at creating public goods like in the infrastructure sector. The next point is suitable for big project. I have also written capital intensive and heavy industries. It is suitable for big projects, those whose gestation period is very long. The government may provide a capital subsidy in the form of a one-time grant so as to make it more attractive to the private investors. In some other cases, you can see that the government may support the project by providing revenue subsidies, including tax breaks, or by providing guaranteed annual revenues for a fixed period. The next point is public welfare. Public welfare, it is used in the government projects targeted at public welfare, for example, Delhi Metro Railway Corporation. And the last one is sharing revenue. Revenue is shared between government and private enterprises in agreed ratio. So, this is it, and I hope this is clear to you all. Thank you.